Hello viewers and welcome to Novus Talks with me, your host, Novus Gomes. And as we all know, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach finally released after 2 years of anticipation a couple days ago. Now, this game has been hyped up quite substantially since its initial marketing. Since that first teaser on scottgames.com, all the way back after the Halloween update for Help Wanted, we've been getting really interested and excited for what Security Breach could have to offer. Obviously, one of the big focuses of this game was going to be this new character, Vanny, who was teased at the end of the Curse of Dreadbear DLC, and throughout the marketing for Security Breach, in the trailers, the posters, things like that, Vanny was this central thing, and was one of the main things that was being marketed as like a main selling point of the game. And we were all getting very excited to see how she would play into the story, who she was, her whole thing, and just what the general story is coming off of Help Wanted and how the gameplay evolves. So once again, before I actually get into my thoughts, I will say, I must acknowledge that Steelwool did, of course, develop Security Breach again. They were the developers of Help Wanted, which I still think is the best Five Nights at Freddy's game overall, because just of what it brings to the table. It's sort of this, yes, technically a continuation of the story, but it is very much a reboot and a standalone story, but it's something new fans and older players could actually get into and enjoy for the first time. And Security Breach kind of plays the same way as well. That's one of the strong points I feel Security Breach actually has, is the fact that it is a sequel to Help Wanted, but whether you're a hardcore game theory type of fan or whether you're someone who has no knowledge of Fnaf, you can look at this game and understand what's going on for the most part. The same as, whether you're new or a current fan or whatever. So kudos to Steelwool for doing that, for providing an experience that newcomers and actual fans can get into, because that's something most developers talk about nowadays, but very few actually successfully implement. And Steelwool, I think, has done that twice in a row now, so fair play to them on that. Actual game itself. What is it like to play the game, to witness the story and all of that? So this is interesting because, as we know, Steelwool were hyping up this game for the last 2 years. They were releasing trailers once every 6 months, basically. Trailers are very spread out, but when we did get them, not counting the first two trailers, they were very, they did give us quite a bit to chew on. And they really hyped up the story and the game as this sort of story between Vanny and Glitch Trap and, all these new animatronics potentially being glitched and all of that. But then I'm sorry to say that I was disappointed going into the game to see that very little of anything from the trailers is in the game. And that is probably my biggest problem of all, right off the bat, before I say anything else. There was quite a bit of false marketing with this game. None of the dialogue from any of the trailers is in the game. Entire cutscenes seem to be missing. Maybe even rooms and areas. I'm not sure what happened. People say that, they rushed the game or because they were trying to get a deadline, but I don't know if I really believe that. And that the game released completely glitchy and buggy. The game is broken, really. Steelwool did say that they plan to release updates and patches to fix the game, but that doesn't mean anything. They should have taken the time to fix the game before release. If they had to delay it another 4, 5, 6 months, they should have done that. They shouldn't have released a product that is broken. And, they claim that, they're a small studio and that they couldn't notice, everything. And I get that to an extent, but come on. There's YouTubers who are playing the game for 10 minutes and are already discovering game-breaking bugs. I find it hard to believe Steelwool didn't notice a lot of these major issues right off the bat. Assuming they even did some proper play testing, because, there's videos apparently showing evidence that they didn't. So I don't know, the fact Steel Wool kind of pulled a stunt like that really has made me look at them not too happily. Because what does that say about the effort they're willing to put in if they're willing to put the product out there and then say they're going to fix it later? That's no good. I know that's like the trend in gaming at the moment, and most AAA games do that nowadays. That doesn't make it right. That does not make it acceptable. It's a shitty practice. It's scummy, and as far as I'm concerned, when that happens, all players for like any game like that should be entitled to ask for refunds when something like that happens, because that is scummy and that's delivering a product that is not finished and is not the experience people wanted. But I'm going off on a tangent there. The point is, the game released in a condition that we weren't expecting it to. Then you get into the actual gameplay. So this is the biggest change. Obviously, Fnaf 1, 2, 3, and 4 to an extent. The original saga was, office point and click type games, and even Sister Location, which sort of had free roam, and Fnaf 6, they were still point and click games at their core. Help Wanted kind of broke the mold, but was still restricted. So this is the first fully 3D open, it's not an open world, but open environment, 3D environment game. And so instead of having point and click, it's very stealth-based gameplay. In a way, there's almost Metroidvania elements to it as well, because there's, to get to certain areas, you need upgrades, and then you get those upgrades and you have to go back and backtrack and go to different areas, and you have a massive map to explore. So there's some interesting elements from the gameplay standpoint that are there. But my problem is, the map is largely empty. There's these huge sprawling areas, but there's almost nothing in them other than a few staff robots, which they're not interesting or anything. They're just there. So what's the point? Like Steel Wool, I feel could have cut out a lot of these areas, focused more on the bug content, the technical issues, the story and things like this, instead of adding content, adding areas for the sake of adding areas. And speaking of the enemies and stuff, the animatronics that hunt you down, they get so annoying to deal with. Not even from a, oh my god, I'm going to die kind of way. Just because they repeat the exact same voice lines every single time. They're pretty slow, and they're just an inconvenience. They're not intimidating in any way. They're just there. And especially Vanny. What the hell is up with Vanny? Because she appears like twice, but she doesn't really chase you. She does, but she's just sort of hopping really slowly, repeating. She has this one voice line that's driving me demented even thinking about it. She repeats it over and over again, and that's the extent to her inclusion in the game. She offers nothing. Her existence is irrelevant. It's the same in the actual story. Like, there is no sort of context as to what she up to, She's killing kids, but why? What is she hoping to gain from this, Obviously, you think Glitch Trap, William Afton, who I have a lot of things to say about him in relation to this game. First of all, Glitch Trap was not in the game. Nowhere to be seen or even mentioned or referenced outside of the Princess Quest games, or the CD logs, I guess. What was that all about? I know technically he's in Vanessa's head, so Vanny sort of is Glitch Trap in a way, but I thought that what was going to happen, most of us thought it, to be fair, was that you would defeat each of the animatronics and their parts would gradually merge to become this Afton amalgamation, like in the books, and like in Sister Location with Ennard. But that wasn't what happened at all. Glitch Trap had he wasn't in the plot at all. One of the endings, in fact, shows Springtrap instead of Glitch Trap, which, it's a cool ending, but I hate it because it makes Five Nights at Freddy's 6 irrelevant, and it makes Ultimate Custom Night non-canon, because they're trying to say, like, I like the idea of the pizzeria being underground. That's cool and all, but having Springtrap and Molten Freddy, aka Ennard, survive that fire completely undoes Five Nights at Freddy's 6. The whole point of that game was closure, bringing all the souls to rest, defeating Springtrap once and for all, setting everything free, and closing everything off once and for all. But it doesn't matter because Springtrap survived, and so did Ennard. Ennard is the amalgamation of all of the souls of all of the animatronics, so nothing's changed. The original souls are still there, and so is Afton in his original physical form, which makes it even more confusing as to what is Glitchtrap? Where did he come from? How does he exist? So, what's going? Are they the same? What's going on there? Now there is 6 endings, so that ending might not even be canon. We don't even know what the canon ending is. It could be any of them. But either way, I think it's a really bad decision, and it kind of shows the lack of attention that went into the writing of the story, because at least with Scott Cawthon's games, like, he gave you clues. They were very confusing at times, but there were clues to help you understand. Security Breach doesn't offer context or anything to going on. Who is Gregory? Why is he in the pizzeria? Why is he homeless? Why is everyone trying to kill him specifically? Game offers no insight as to why. Why is Freddy the only good guy? What happened to Bonnie? How did Bonnie die or go missing, None of this is ever explained. And Scott did retire a few months ago, and I think it shows the quality of the game suffered without him. Not only were large amounts of content cut, but the story doesn't make sense, or there's not context or explanation to any of it. So it's just it's missing stuff. That's the only way I can really describe it. It's missing detail. And yeah, there's talk of DLC coming, but again, I don't care. The fundamentals of your story need to be explained in the main game, not in downloadable content that's coming 5 or 6 months from now. That's just terrible decision making, and I honestly don't like that at all. Now, presumably, Steelwool in the future will be the main developers of Five Nights at Freddy's, since Scott has retired. And look, they did a great job with Help Wanted. As I said, it's the best Fnaf game. But with Security Breach, this was a huge blunder, I feel. There's a lot of content here that's just missing. There was false marketing. There's stuff. The game doesn't feel complete. It feels lackluster. It's broken. It's disappointing, to say the least. Visually, it's gorgeous. I will say that. Visually, it's stunning, but you can't even really appreciate the visuals, because with ray tracing, the game literally crashes and becomes unplayable. So take that for what you will. But yeah, those are just my thoughts on Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. I thought I'd just throw them out there for you as a video, since I did trailer reactions and theories to some of the posters from the marketing last year and this year. So I thought I'd just give you my thoughts on the actual game now that it is finally released. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. Are you a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's? Do you know anything about it? What did you think of Security Breach? Were you delighted with it? Were you upset, disappointed? What did you think of the story, the gameplay, the missing content? I want to hear everything you have to say down in the comment section below. And yeah, with that all said, thank you all for watching, and please subscribe. Novus Corvius out.